What's up guys, my name is Craig Yeats. Welcome back to another episode of Coffee with Craig. We are here at the beautiful Vineyard Hotel, where we are going to have some returning guests, some of your favorite people from our previous videos, and we're going to do something a little bit different. We are going to teach you what you need to know about coffee. So we're going to go do a proper coffee tasting. That's right, not whiskey, not wine, coffee tasting here on Coffee with Craig, so that when we have future episodes, we can showcase the little coffee shops in and around Cape Town, and we can do coffee tasting properly. So if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe, because this show is all about entrepreneurship, leadership, business, and coffee. Because what is business without coffee? So let's head inside, let's see some of your favorite guests, and let's learn everything about coffee. Let's go.
Coffee is a fruit, typically. Madagascar, there's around about 1,500 varieties of coffee, coffea. In the rest of the world, there's probably another about 1,000. So Arabica is a cherry. The cherry will either mature either yellow, orange, red, or purple when its sugar levels are right. And I always say, you understand that it's a baby. What we actually eating is somebody's baby, and if the mommy is stressed, she takes the sugar back from the baby. Oh. If she's not stressed, she gives more sugar to the baby. It only produces sugar into the plant from 18 degrees to 22 degrees. So it's a very narrow range. It's a cherry, and once it's a cherry, we essentially want to eat the plant. So we're going to taste some coffee now. That's a sweet.
I know about aroma. I watched a YouTube video on the way here. Intensity and quality. Those are the two things you have to judge with aroma.
So the first thing that you extract in any coffee is the acidity. So you've got to be careful how you extract the acidity, and if you stop extracting too early, you'll get a very acidic coffee. Okay. The next thing you start extracting is the umami or the mouthfeel. Okay. And then the next thing you'll start extracting is your sweetness. And if you over extract your coffee, you'll get bitterness. So it's called the ABCD of coffee.
I'm a non-coffee drinker, but I use it as a secret weapon if I need to stay awake very, very long. And I think after today, I'm probably going to have to get a little bit more into coffee, because now I know about it, and the more you know, the better it gets.
So funny, because I'm the complete opposite. After I had coffee all my life, I grew up with my mom drinking coffee every single morning, and it's the first thing that I do. I wake up, I brush my teeth, and I have my coffee, and then I'll have one or two throughout the day as well. And for me, it's more about the taste. I love the flavor of coffee. Being a foodie and cooking a lot, pairing coffee with different other flavors and seeing how it combines is what's important to me.
Yeah, so I'm completely different, you know. So we normally, as sports people, use coffee, obviously. When you're at rugby games, especially sevens, you have 3 high-intensity games that you have to referee during the day, so you need a coffee to give you that spike, so you stay awake for a 12-hour period. So we use coffee in a different way in sport. But normally in the morning I don't wake up and drink coffee, but...
You wake up and drink wine.
Have espresso, or how do you drink your coffee? Lots of sugar?
Normally espressos, because they give you a quick kick, and then you're already alert for your game.
Yeah.
So,
I think since I started making coffee with Craig, all I ever drink is coffee. I don't drink anything else.
I'm scared.
I'm gonna...
What is this?
It's something about under-extracted
So
coffee.
acidity. So remember when I spoke about acidity, then body, then caramels, and so basically only the acidity has been extracted.
Okay. Basically, he's decided to ruin this coffee on purpose, and then just let us know that this is the bad, and then we've tasted the good, but then he gives us the bad at the end.
So
That's going to be Jack's
say
favorite.
that, but actually around about.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Around about 80%.
Yeah, that is not nice.
So that can happen for 3 reasons. One, it can be under extracted because of the fact that there's not enough water through it. The other one could be that the grinder is not set fine enough. Okay, So then what happens is the water goes through the coffee and doesn't attach to too many particles and make it super acidic. And the other might be that the coffee is overdosed.
Okay.
So and the big problem with coffee shops is most of them don't calibrate their coffee. So I'm not going to mention names, but we went to a customer and I said, how much coffee do you put in your per puck? No, 14 grams. I said, are you sure? Yes, 14 grams. Our accounting system says so, blah, blah, blah. So I took a scale and I measured 22 grams.
And as a business person, I would tell them that they're losing money.
And the problem is, it's not that they're losing money, they're losing clients.
Yeah.
Because their coffee tastes horrible.
Yeah.
Bad yields, guys, bad
So,
yields.
Warren, can I ask you something? So, if you go and buy perfume, between the perfume, you're always smelling coffee. So that every time you smell the next perfume, you can smell it. Is there anything with coffee that's almost like breaks that smell from the one coffee bean to the next?
Each person's different, but some people love sparkling water. I love still water. I find sparkling water gives me an aftertaste. So normally you rinse with water, like with wine. You can have a cracker. When I was doing the one judging, we had crackers. We just like wine.
What are the most common flavors that you can get out of a coffee? So is it a nutty flavor, a fruity flavor, is it a woody flavor?
It's regional. So if you take the world map, your Brazil coffees are normally what I call the woodier nuts. Your Brazils, your almonds. As you go further south, you're going to get more. The nuts are going to be more of the peanuts and almonds and that sort of stuff. It's not 100% right because you get different flavors, but that's more or less sort of it. So you can look for nuts and cocos and spices. That's what you're going to get. Not on that thing. In Africa, it splits between east and west. So you get more earthy coffees on the one side and more fruity coffees on the other side. And then as you go to Asia, you start getting spices and cinnamons. And so.
Question about the leftover, the coffee grounds. What is your favorite way of using it? Do you compost it?
So it's very good for compost.
Yeah.
Because actually, coffee developed caffeine as an insecticide.
Okay.
So if you put it in your compost, it actually naturally repellents certain insects. Ironically, there's some insects who've now developed an addiction to caffeine.
Okay, Jackie, you ready to go through and tell us what your views are on the coffee that we've tasted today?
Yeah.
So you're gonna taste coffee and term it in a business way because you're a businessman.
I'll tell you, Craig, I'm very, very biased more towards the filter coffee with the untrained palate. You know, the espresso was a bit too strong for me. I'm a bit biased towards the South African coffee. I genuinely enjoyed it more from hails from KZN, beautiful stuff. Then I actually like the Brazil coffee second, and then actually the African Burundi coffee last. But yeah, definitely a fan of the filter coffee. Learned a lot today. If you've got an untrained palate, just start somewhere, and if you've got a guy like Warren, he'll get you drinking the good stuff very quickly, eh?
For me, what was very interesting is the flavor difference from the filter coffees. My favorite was definitely the Brazil filtered coffee, but then with the espressos, it was the South African KwaZulu-Natal coffee. But also when you taste it and then you stir it and then you taste it again, the flavor profile is completely different. So I would be very interested to see at home how I can play with coffee to bring out different flavors.
Yeah, for me, I must be honest, it's the first time having coffee like this, but I love espressos. I'm going to drink less wine and have more coffee because I need to stay up for long periods of time. But I actually like the South African espresso the most because it just brought a new flavour to my palate, and my palate is more tuned towards my home country, by the way. So it was very nice.
Yeah, I'm more with Leo's suggestion. I like this the Brazil filter coffee the most out of everything, and then with the espresso, either the Brazil or the South African. I'm not sure. There's a lot. It's still the South African one's quite fruity. It's still very, very fruity. So I preferred the Brazil because it's a little bit more nutty.
But most importantly, it was Moorish. I think we.
Yeah, we all want more.
Okay, so three things in the future. What are you going to? How would you taste coffee, and how would you rate coffee?
Well, I'm trying to remember what Warren just taught me. Well, I'm definitely going to have a good smell, a deep smell, and then I'm going to look for acidity. I've clearly learned that I don't like acidic coffee, and Warren's given me the confidence to say what I like is right for me and what you like is right for you. So actually each to their own. There's not one coffee that we should drink. We should probably try and have a few coffees that we like to drink.
From a business point of view, why are you gonna drink coffee?
From a business point of view, I like what Warren said. Let's find the lowest, best taste, and let's franchise the hell out of it. That's what I think from a business perspective.
Okay, Leo, what about you?
I like experiencing with different flavors, being in the kitchen all the time. So I think that I'm going to explore a little bit about where coffee comes from, in which areas, and what flavor those areas of coffees bring.
And then something else, because you touched on just now, you're obviously working in the whole vegan community.
Yes.
Do you do anything with your leftover from your coffee?
I do. I've actually used the coffee grounds in bases of like raw cashew cheesecakes. So you can't use a lot of it because otherwise it is very grainy. But if you spread it out with your dates and your nuts, so I think that the Brazilian coffee grounds would be amazing in that with the dates and Brazilian nuts.
I think you've experimented on me with that before.
I have. I've had my raw cashew cheesecake.
And it
was very good.
Have you not done anything like a veggie garden or anything of that sort?
I do. I grow my own veggies at home, so I'm very interested to try and use my coffee grounds as compost without attracting any insects. That's going to it's going to eat my little tomatoes in my kitchen.
Yeah, I must say, Craig, for me, one thing I've learned that different climates obviously affect the different tastes and stuff. I actually wasn't aware of that. I normally just go to a coffee shop and just drink the coffee and not appreciate it. And one thing I'd say, I will not add milk into my espressos anymore because I'm starting to get the aroma of the coffee, you know, and it's quite interesting when you start appreciating the flavors of a coffee, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's for me as well. What you were saying earlier, it's so interesting how each barista also makes the coffee so different. So there's so many things going on. There's the flavors. There's how long you're making the coffee for, but then each barista makes it completely different. Okay, so that's coffee, but we can't just talk about coffee. On the spot, you need to tell me what your best meme or quote is. So something inspirational, Jack.
All I'm thinking of is Squid Games is the rage at the moment, but I've just gone blank on that.
Read something inspirational. It's a good little quote that you live by, or that reminds you to stay positive, to keep going, to keep you going in your business when it's tough times.
I've got one. It's very relevant to COVID. It's not that there are not enough resources in the world. You just have to be more resourceful.
Okay, so
that's what I live by.
Tony Robbins, good.
Oh, that is it. Right. Thanks, Tony.
Yeah.
My favorite that I am using at the moment is, if you don't want your future to look like your past, you can't do what you've always done.
Okay, that's good. Nice.
Oh goodness, I've got to live up to these people. Yes, my inspirational quote, I must be honest, it's I always go by the saying before my father passed on. He said, laziness is the father of disappointment, so I'll never be lazy.
Sure. Okay.
I thought you were just going to say you're all offside.
What I'm finding now at the moment, and what I'm finding with our sales guys, is that saying an idle hand is the devil's playground. So when people they have so much free time now with COVID, they're getting up to nonsense, and they're getting off track of what they should be focusing on their business at hand. And you always need to be focused forward on what you're after. And I think that's having hope and a focus for the future is what everyone needs to be going and moving towards.
That's why we should drink more coffee.
Exactly. On that.
Warren, thank you so much.
Yeah,
it's been an amazing experience to go through and find out the history of coffee and all what goes into it. I think most people don't realize actually when they go to a Seattle or Vita, when they're ordering a coffee, like what the history is behind coffee and all the different aromas and tastes and how a barista actually makes it. So thank you for that. And thank you to you guys, Jack, Leo and Rasta, for joining us again on that episode of Coffee with Craig. Now we can go and rate coffees a little bit better on Coffee with Craig and share some inspiration and motivation. So thank you for joining us. Until next week, we're out of here.
I didn't want to put it on the video, but I'm really a tea man.